5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello and welcome to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences. So this is the podcast where my co-host and I get together and we recap all the Cincinnati-based craft beer podcasts from the previous week. Today we are getting together here at our gracious podcast host, Higher Gravity Summit Park, and we are giving our version of the truth of how those podcasts went. Now, hopefully there aren't too many consequences from the hosts or participants on the other shows. So far, so good. Also, I do want to say that all the opinions and expressions that are on this podcast are our own and may have nothing to do with any entity that we may or may not represent. I am Marco. I work for a tap room here locally, and I'm about to introduce the best co-host in Podcastlandia.
I am Julia, and I have no affiliation with anything at all. So I get to drink all the craft beer here in Cincinnati, talk shit about all the Cincinnati craft beer podcasts as much as I want, and no one can do a damn thing about it.
Okay.
Yeah. I also like to write funny things about beer during beer event season, which is, holy crap, that's only a couple weeks away.
I know.
I can't believe it. If you do not have, go ahead.
No, it's just it's happy and sad at the same time. It's
Agreed.
like this weather, the weather changing, the signals to the end of the calendar year coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Halloween just happened, and wow, where does time go? It stops for no person.
It really doesn't. So if you have not found a way to stop time, which if you have, let us know. My God, I could use
hit
some
us up
extra
at Troop Beer Pod.
Absolutely, everywhere. Buy your Higher Gravity beer vent box if you have not already. They have a limited amount. I don't know exactly how many they have left for sale. I think that
At least one more.
At least one more.
Yeah, it's probably just one more.
You could get that last beer vent box if you go to Higher Gravity Craft House, HAUS.com, and buy your beer vent box. The link on your receipt will say that it's available within like an hour. It's a lie. They will be available Thanksgiving week. I don't know the exact date. Again, Jason's due to show up here at some point, and he will give us all the details. You can pick it up at Summit Park or at the Northside location. It's going to be an absolutely amazing, amazing fun time, as it always is.
And Julia just gave away a spoiler there. Spoiler alert.
Yep.
Jason from Higher Gravity is going to be on the bonus pod that we put out.
Yeah, so in addition to talking about Beer Vent, I want to shout out an amazing event that's happening. I think today, I believe, Friday, November the 4th, is the last day to donate a sponsorship for the Honor Bus, which is a new event happening. They're hoping to make it a recurring event every year for Veterans Week. Matt Damaris of Vets and Brews and Mike Stokes of Cincy Brew Bus, they are hosting 50 veterans. They're going to put them all on one of the Cincy Brew buses. They're going to take them to Listerman Brewing and to Rheingeist Brewing. They're going to wine and dine these veterans and give them the recognition and the support that they deserve. They are looking for companies to sponsor each veteran. There are 3 different tiers that you can sponsor them at. Please check it out, vetsandbrews.com. If you are not a local business, not a company that wants to sponsor on that level, but you still want to buy a veteran a beer, just X out of the little Honor Bus pop-up that shows up. It'll take you to the main Vets and Brews site where you can pay $10 or more to buy veterans a beer. But please get on that, and it's an absolutely amazing thing, and I'm so happy for those 2 local companies to be getting together to do this.
Truly exciting, awesome, and I can't wait to hear whether it's via podcast form or a post on social media or just having beers talking to whether it be Matt or Mike about the trip and how it went.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be an amazing time, and with local businesses, with your help, this can become a yearly event, and I think that it's going to be fantastic.
Should be great.
Yes.
Thank you, Julia, for bringing that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really appreciate it.
What else I'm going to bring up is we are essentially a craft beer podcast.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be a good one unless we were drinking craft beer. So
No.
we both have good stuff in our glasses, or should be good stuff. I haven't tried mine yet. But Marco, what do you have in your glass right now?
This is going to harken back to the previous episode. I have All Day IPA from Founders.
Excellent. That's a solid choice. This is one that I have not yet had. It's from Untitled Art. It's just called Cold IPA because, cold IPAs are the hot thing to do now, right?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
No? No?
No, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah. We don't have
we don't.
We don't have like a yay or a
No,
cheers
we had a cheers, but I didn't map it, and I don't feel like stopping to map the cheers button.
No, it's fine. We're good.
Button. Yeah.
Yay,
but I'm
good.
Gonna try this,
Good
Marco.
joke. So we have those beers. The other thing I also want to say is thank you to everyone who's been with us on this journey for quite a while. Thank you to everyone who is new to the podcast. And we will tell you at the end of the episode how to like, share, subscribe, follow us, and to support us in all of the different sort of ways that you should do so.
Yes. But let's get into the focus of the episode, Cincinnati Craft Beer Podcast.
Okay.
We have... still getting over whatever in the world is going on. So luckily I'm not coughing nearly as much as I was last week. Jim is not here to kill me.
Oh, he's good.
So,
He's fine.
Yes.
I'm
not worried about Jim. I'm worried about me.
We followed up with Jim.
We did.
First of all, you're going to be fine.
I'll be fine.
And we followed up with Jim. He's fine.
Yes.
Other than, the typical day-to-day, stuff that can happen every now and then.
Yep.
And I'm fine.
Good. I'm glad that we all made it out unscathed. There were a couple times during that recording where I wasn't sure who was going to be walking out that door and who was going to need to be carried out.
It was great. I
fantastic.
did a very responsible thing and skipped Tequila Tuesday.
You did.
And it was a great time. It was a blast.
Yes. So thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. And we'll have you back to recap some of the things that we said we were going to recap and just didn't get to.
Yeah.
Because that's how it goes when you're live. This is really live, and we really drink beers, ladies and gentlemen.
Which means we forget to talk about half of the things that we say we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
What we're not going to forget to talk about are podcasts.
That's correct.
All right.
Because those are written down. We have laminated show sheets.
And I have a whole notebook, so we've got this.
And my notes look a lot like yours, actually.
Pretty much exactly like mine.
It's very close. Yeah.
Let's see. Drinking with the Gnome. This is going back 2 weeks. We did not get to 2 of these podcasts last week.
Yeah.
So we're doing them this week.
Full disclosure.
One of those is Drinking with the Gnome, where he talked with Zane Lamprey. I think that we were both there, not in the room when he did that, but we were feet away from that magic happening. So
yeah.
I'm excited to give that a little recap. We have 2 bonus episodes actually, of Craft Parenting Podcast, one where they talked about Oktoberfest beers, and one that they just released where they drank the Grayscale Brewing Trick or Treat Cryptid Seltzer Pack with their friends Graham and Brian.
Yeah.
That was a fun time.
Yep.
We have Shift Beers, Silver City Beers with Lyndsi, who we may or may not have paid to call into the drunk line, but it turned out to be even better than we ever expected.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was fantastic. She sent them beers. They called her. We'll talk about it. It's great. And then we have one of the longest episodes in the history of Cincy Brewcast, where he talked to Michael from Adena.
Yeah. Love Michael from Adena. Love Michael. We've been guest heavy recently, and but at some point we need to have Michael back.
You know what I was thinking would be fun is, and I'm speaking this out into the universe.
Let's go. He listens.
Something he does. And a lot of the people that I would want to bring into this idea listen to the podcast.
Ooh.
Some type of a round table where we have members from start to finish of the kind of craft beer journey. So a brewer or someone involved in, beer production or, owning a brewery, taproom managers, all the way up to distributors and even to bottle shop owners, so higher gravity or the B and the B and the B and the C and the K of BCs, and then down to just me being just your average drinker. I think it would be really cool to try to get at
You're
least...
an above average drinker.
I do what I can.
Yeah.
I do what I can. But I thought it would be cool to have like a little round table where we just have a conversation that covers start to finish of craft beer in Cincinnati.
Great into glass.
Great in a glass. I like it. All right. Let's get on to podcast because we have slightly limited time before we are going to kick off our bonus.
Yeah, we have sort of it's not a hard time on when the bonus starts, but we do know about when the bonus is going to start, so we need to...
It's just being courteous of someone else's time.
Correct.
That's what it is. All right, so let's start with, if I can actually turn...
Craft Parenting Pod.
Pages. Yeah, let's do that. 2 Craft Parenting podcasts.
And did you want to talk about them individually, or did you want to just announce that we're talking about these 2, and then we just, sort of go off our notes and go towards hit both of them.
Let's do that. We kind of already mentioned what the 2 episodes are. Episode 80.5, the one with the Oktoberfest beers.
Did you see there was a non-alcoholic Oktoberfest?
Yeah, didn't we have that? Or
on
I had
sale
that?
over there?
Yeah. Last Chance beers.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too.
So episode 80.5, the one with the Oktoberfest beers, and then episode 81.5, the one with not Urban Artifacts, Trick or Treat Seltzers.
Correct.
Yes. So we'll go ahead and just start with the Oktoberfest episode, and as that bleeds into the Seltzer episode, they were both fun. Really, really fun to listen to.
It all bleeds.
It all bleeds. Everything bleeds. Everybody hurts.
Yeah.
Let's see.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Was Craft Parenting Podcast super late with their Oktoberfest episode or super early with their Oktoberfest episode?
I love that.
Want to go down the seasonal creep thing?
I love that. That's hilarious.
They could either be super late or super early with it. It all depends on how you want to look at it.
You know what? I'm gonna be nice and call it they're late.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It was a great episode. They gave a lot of the history on Oktoberfest beers, which was pretty cool. There are actually fewer Oktoberfest beers made in Munich than in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know, but if I think about it, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
They are very regimented on what's made, how it's made, and over here, we tend to stick to being traditional, but we also are okay with having a little more fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. You can now support them monetarily. They're doing a Buy Me a Coffee site.
Yeah, coffee.
And I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest about this. Their Buy Me a Coffee, I'll call them an ad, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
They're little...
They do an ad, a little commercial. They take a break and talk about themselves.
Yes. Not nearly as entertaining as Gnome's Manscaped ads.
No.
They don't talk about their balls nearly enough.
No, not at all.
So,
no, not enough genitalia talk.
We're going to need you to step it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Give me a reason to buy you a coffee, whether it's...
Ooh.
Well, we won't go there. Or maybe we will.
Off air. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah. Truth Beer Pod After Dark. Things that we would pay.
Or for the Patreon live stream.
Live
right here.
Guys.
Right here.
I'm so happy that ones of people tune into that week after week. It's great.
I tell you what, the tens of people that accidentally clicked on it is amazing.
It's fantastic. You see them up there for like 5 seconds, like, what is this shit? And then they're gone. Let's see. They got sidetracked talking about the TQL beer series runs. They got sidetracked a lot in this one. They had a decent number of beers.
Yeah, they were running around.
It.
But I don't understand though, because the guests were the same. Right? So they had Graham and
Brian.
By the way, Brian and Graham, great guests. Great.
Oh my
we
God,
talked about
they're
this.
Great. Yeah. Last year?
It was last year.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
It was last year. Great guests.
Fantastic.
They brought it. Great guests again. The other thing is that these are 2 well-traveled people, along with Caroline and Joe. They are also well-traveled. However, currently traveling, Brian and Graham, they were just everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yes.
And I loved hearing about all of their travels and their tips and the jaunts that they go to, and the experiences that they have, and
their future plans of places that they're going to be going.
Oh
Amazing.
my God.
Amazing.
And their little tips, their travel tips and tricks, and how you do this and that, and it's so good. So good. It's very informative and entertaining at the same time.
Agreed 100% with that. Let's see. Most of the episode was rabbit holes and tangents and just
Yeah.
crisscrossing things. But it was so much fun. Like, they were trying to stick to Oktoberfest beers in this episode.
Yeah.
Like, they tried really, really hard. But, man, there was just one little...
Because Joe puts out a Google Doc.
He does.
He puts out
He
a
makes
Google
sure-
Doc to guess. And so, you know, you know what's coming.
Yes.
And so it's got some structure to it.
Yeah.
I don't know other
Which
podcasts that do that, but
No, certainly not us with laminated show sheets and
well,
notebooks.
but we don't
full
need
of
to email
notes.
those out, and
This is
we don't
true.
change them.
It's fine.
It's just
hey, you know, whatever works. It's awesome. I mean, it's
It works
always,
for them.
It's good to have at least some idea of the highlights you want to hit in an episode. There's nothing wrong with
Of course.
Let's see. Apparently, Fretboard now makes for the Donnerschwaben their Schwarzbier.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I had no idea about that. So next year for the Cincinnati Donnerschwabens...
Jim, you didn't spill the beans on that.
I know.
I mean, what the F?
I know. Well, you know what? Oh, I don't have a what the F button.
Oh, okay.
But I do have...
Shit. Okay.
Kinda, sort of,
Okay.
kinda. One of the best stories that they told in this episode was how upset Joe was when at an Oktoberfest event, he really, really, really wanted an Oktoberfest beer. Instead, he was given an IPA. He's still mad about that to this day. Like, that was before they had kids and everything. He is still mad about that. And
Yeah.
that was cracking me up. Like, Joe, I understand, I empathize, but holy crap, that was funny. Listening to you just re-fly off the handle about...
I think one of these days he's going to lose it like Clark Griswold in the Christmas Vacation. I think
Maybe.
he's just going to go just totally batshit crazy on somebody for something.
Hey, you know what? As long as Caroline's there to film it and put it on the grams.
Yeah.
And because I mean, I don't think that Joe would ever go that much off the handle to where he would ever, you know, he would never hurt anyone. He would never.
Well, Clark
it would
didn't
never
hurt
be,
anyone.
Right.
It was
would
Clark's.
just be this.
It was his family member that went and kidnapped
right.
somebody.
What was the movie?
So whose family member of Joe's would kidnap somebody? Have we met them yet?
We don't know. No, we
haven't
don't
met
really-
anybody that would kidnap somebody
They're-
yet.
I think that most of their guests have been their friends and
Yeah.
not families. So
Okay.
I don't know.
That's good.
What was the movie with? Oh my gosh, I can picture him. The same guy that was in The Game.
The Game.
The movie The Game.
Now you got me.
This movie was about a guy that was just having a fucking bad day.
Okay.
And like the entire world is collapsing around him.
I don't know. The Game.
Man,
Was he a
no.
gamer?
No. The Game was about a guy that was unknowingly put into kind of a simulated reality game.
Oh, geez.
And like everyone around
So it
him
was
an
about a
actor. Yeah. God damn it. What was... Hold on.
There's been a few movies like that.
This is
From a
old.
bunch of
This
decades
is,
ago, you got Falling Down with Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas. That's him.
It's called Falling
Is it
Down.
Falling Down? Perfect. I couldn't remember. Yes, but
Yeah.
where he's having just the worst day possible. Like, that's what I feel like.
Yeah, he pops off from the beginning.
Yes.
And I think it starts in like LA traffic.
Yes, I believe so. It's been a long time
Yeah.
since I've watched it. But that's what I see happening with Joe. Like, he just
Yeah.
one thing, and he's done.
Yeah, he
He's
flips
gone.
off. Kind of like in Father of the Bride where Steve Martin popped off about the hot dogs and the buns.
I mean, if you want to be served sandwiches, you can't do hot dog.
I can't do this. I can't.
All right, Marcus walking away. I was kidding.
Hot dog's a hot dog.
Yes, it is. I was kidding. I was saying it for the comedic value. Come back. Come back. Please sit down. I did not mean that. I was just saying it for the effect. Purely for the effect. The reaction was perfect.
I don't even know why this bullshit is going on where you see interviews and documentaries where they're calling all these fast food hamburgers
Is a calzone a quesadilla?
sandwiches.
I mean, it's right.
They're like sandwiches. I'm going to poke you in the eye with a red hot poker or hit you with a spoon
Kick them
until
in the
you
shins
die.
because there you go. Did you
Just
watch it?
follow them. Just
Did you watch it?
I can't believe I spent 10 minutes of
There
my
you go.
life watching that.
Yes.
Jesus.
Fantastic. It's fantastic. These are all great movies that we're talking about.
Oh my God.
Terrible. Or, I'm sorry.
And then you just lump, you
Yep.
just like pat someone till they die with a spoon,
Oh,
and then your
so
spoon
great.
cracks, and
So great.
you think there's You
You
think
think it's done.
You think it's done.
It's the end.
Yeah.
But it's only beginning. All
Julia,
right.
how did you find that? I mean, what do you do? What sort of rabbit hole did you go down to find this Attack of the Spoon or whatever it is called?
I've known about that for a couple of years, so there was no telling what led me to that. Josh might have showed me that actually.
Engel?
No, my Josh.
Oh, you're Josh. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Because he found Josh Engel found the Gabagool song.
Yes, he did. Oh, and what a song that is. All right. Second episode, bonus episode of Craft Parenting Podcast, where they drank the Trick or Treat seltzers.
Yeah.
I do want to say there's not a lot for us to really dive into with this one, just because they talked about the flavors they were getting. They talked about this one. We think this is a trick. We think this is a treat. It's the same thing that we did. It's the same thing that a couple of other shows have done. We're just going to be rehashing it. You can still get the Trick or Treat packs. I've still seen them out in Kroger, so I don't want to spoil anything for any one bite. If you have no idea of what's going on, which is really weird.
Pack.
What's really weird is, Kroger has the singles section.
Yeah.
They'll have singles of the cryptids, and I'm like, oh, you can't do that.
That's a good and a bad idea all at the same time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Brian and Graham were back to try the seltzers.
Thank you, Brian and Graham, by the way.
Yes.
I did pick up on your message. I truly appreciate that. They had a message for me.
They did one specifically for you.
Me.
And that was in the main episode they did
Correct.
with Brian and Graham, not the bonus episode.
Correct.
So listen to that one and see how Marco got a shout out from Joe and Caroline's
That's
friends.
right.
Yeah. They did a blind taste test with them. They drank and guessed which ones were. They said that they were going to guess which ones were rated the highest on Untapped, but they never told us which ones were rated the highest on Untapped.
Well, they checked on Untapped.
But didn't they say that they were going to...
Like the highest
let
one was
people-
rated like a 3.
Well, right, but didn't they say that they were going to try to guess which one was rated highest, and then they just kind of were like... They didn't really...
Well, they did talk about what they smelled
False
and what they
promises.
tasted, and then instead of all of them rating themselves, they just gave the rating, which it's fine with me. I mean, we don't rate anything on this podcast, and we do that on purpose.
I forget to check in 90% of what I drink anymore.
I don't forget. I
just
don't on purpose.
I'll be at home and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do that, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. 2 other things that I had for this episode.
I have 2 as well.
Okay. Do dogs count as kids for trick or treat?
Okay, dogs don't count as kids.
Okay, that's fair. That was easy enough.
It's my truth.
All right. And the last thing that I had is a multiple choice question.
Julia has a multiple choice question.
I do.
All right, so
Here we go.
well, we need to introduce.
Well, right. I was saying here we go, and
here we go.
I was waiting for you to scroll through your celebrity.
Hold on, let me
contact list.
check with this bastard I haven't checked with in a long time.
Yeah. Vlad was pretty fucking awesome. I mean, I think
He
he's
did.
kind of.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he came
should come
around.
back at some point. I don't know when that would be appropriate.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
man,
for sure.
he was great. He was great.
Okay, so this person's been kind of shitty to us lately.
Oh.
But they know that a certain something is coming up, so I think they're wanting to get back in our good graces.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do it.
So hold on.
Let's do it.
Phone.
Call him out.
All right. Hello. This is Morgan Freeman. I'm here because in the very near future, Marco is going to tell a story about his son and he going to the Sam Adams tap room to experience utopias. I love that story.
It's a wonderful story.
Thank you, Julia.
Sorry.
You should be. And I want to be here to support that. So occasionally I will show up. I won't do much of a fuss, but I'll be in and out like a sniper. So now, to introduce Julia's multiple choice question.
Thank you, Morgan Freeman. I appreciate you
Thanks,
more
Morgan.
than you will ever know.
Thanks, Morgan.
All
You better
right.
thank me. Okay. All right.
We
did.
do, absolutely.
We just did.
We did. Several
Okay,
times.
way to go
so,
there.
Thanks
Bud,
again.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
We need to find someone else to introduce your stories, man.
I know, it's weird.
Yeah. All right. So, multiple choice question about episode 81.5, the one with the trick-or-treat seltzers.
Okay.
Being a good West Sider, what does Caroline always keep in her purse? Is it A, Werther's Original Candies?
Okay.
Is it B, a map? Or is it C, koozies?
Julia, you brought the multiple choice question. So now you brought the A, B, and C. So I am here to bring the D,
Hell
Julia.
yeah.
Marco brings the D with these multiple choice questions. So Julia gave you those, and I am here to bring you D. So D, Caroline, she keeps a compact in her purse. And what she does is once her rearview mirror on the driver's side is knocked off, she just opens the compact so the mirror is there so that she can
And why
see.
is her side view mirror knocked off?
Because they don't park in the motherfucking driveway. And she just whips it out. It's like an old Razor phone. You know, it's like a ding, and then she can, park
Yeah.
as need be.
Not wrong. I might have just given away the answer there, but, not wrong. Oh, that was fantastic.
Park in the driveway.
So 2 great bonus episodes from Craft Parenting Podcast. They do have another one in between those 2 where it is just talking with Brian and Graham and all the amazing travels and adventures.
They are very well-traveled people, and I'm here to listen to all this because
Absolutely.
they take it. They have a vigor when they start to talk about
They
this,
should have a
this
podcast.
traveling. They should.
Just saying.
Hey, Brian Graham, come on over here. Be guests on this pod, and we'll help you out with that.
Sure. All right. Was there anything else about Craft Parenting Podcast?
Nah.
All right.
Nah. That's all
right.
my notes.
Check out the episodes. Check them out. We cannot emphasize that enough. Let's move on to the gnome.
Yeah.
Because we have 2 shows of his to talk about.
Okay.
One was, again, 2 weeks ago, Drinking with the Gnome. He was talking with Zane Lamprey. So this was an interview that he did back when Zane Lamprey was in town to do his comedy tour.
Yep.
Zane was gracious enough to take a few minutes before the show to sit down with Gnome and to have a conversation where Gnome was supposed to interview Zane, but it almost turned into the opposite.
Right.
As they started talking, which I thought was really great.
I thought it was fun.
It was some different questions that the Gnome was presented with that I feel kind of gives you a little more of a view into who the Gnome is and his thoughts on the craft beer scene.
I thought it was fun, too, because it was a couple of guys just talking, and Zane even makes mention of it. It's like, you could sit here and interview me, but isn't this free-flow sort of conversation more fun? And Gnome does take a moment and say, yeah, I think actually my listeners would probably find this more interesting than it just a sort of Q&A session.
Right, agreed. And I do love the more conversational podcasts that are out there rather than the ones that are, okay, now I'm going to ask you this, and after we talk about this for 2 or 3 minutes, okay, well, now I'm going to ask you this, and you can tell that it is super structured.
Right.
Some structure is fine to just kind of keep you on track. Otherwise, you end up, rather than what we do sometimes, and we end up with like a 36-hour podcast that I have to cut down because I didn't stick to, the notes or the whatever. But those free-form conversations are so much more engaging and so much more personal.
Well,
than
they are, and you have to think about Zane's travel schedule, right? He's in a different town, a different city, a different brewery. Sometimes maybe possibly 2 in a day. Sits down, probably does get interviewed quite a bit. But this is the second time the Gnarly Gnome has sat down to have a session, we'll call it, with a podcast session or a vlog with Zane. The first one was question and answer type.
Sure.
This one was more free flow conversation, like we said before. I enjoyed both, but I like this progression. If Zane is going to continue to do this, and I think that's a real question, like, what are you going to do now that you did 2 comedy tours back to back, 1 year after the other? That's by the way, the definition of back to back.
I'm glad you clarified that for us.
Yeah, and it was totally different content.
Right.
It wasn't the same content the 2 years ago as it was this year. what do you do next? And are you coming back around? Second time at fretboard. And so if it comes around again, I think that they've built up at least enough of a relationship to where a little bit of time would be spent to for the two of them to converse.
Right. Or even for Noam to show him some of the other breweries, because like you said, both times he's been here, he's been at fretboard. And that kind of leads me into one of the questions that I had, or, that kind of Noam brought up in this. I don't even want to call it an interview. It was a conversation that they were having.
Right.
Zane put out a top 5, top whatever beer cities list. And he does his research on all the places that he visits for the
It's
tours
his list,
and
so
all
he's
that.
not wrong, except
Correct.
he's wrong.
Correct.
I mean, but, so be it.
Should Cincinnati have been on his top insert number here list? And because I think he sounded a little surprised when Noam was like, we have this many breweries and we have all this other stuff. And Zane was just kind of like, I do my research, and I guess I just didn't realize, because when he's in town for maybe 2 days, depending on his tour schedule.
Yeah, and the other thing is, too,
He needs to come in and just experience Cincinnati craft beer for a long weekend or a full week and just really see all the absolutely amazing breweries that we have in the city. I think that he would love it.
I think he would, too. But the other thing is, too, when you're looking at data from these places where he's getting data from, I would imagine that they're taking Cincinnati as Cincinnati proper.
True, right.
Versus actually going on your friend, the Gnarly Gnome's own, platforms and finding out what he calls greater Cincinnati area.
Right.
And finding out, how spread out it is. I mean, to go all the way from Alexandria, Kentucky to
On Dayton.
Beyond almost Dayton to as north 71 as, say, Cellar Dweller to south, the other way to wherever it is. I don't even know.
Right.
But my point is that he's not looking at, I don't think he's looked at data that way. I think he looks at
numbers.
more.
How much does
this particular
city
county
drink
or this
per
particular
capita?
city? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This location drinks this much more beer per person than this other place. That doesn't really, I don't feel like that's always an accurate representation of.
But it's Zane's list, and
sure, absolutely,
it's
he can do what
his,
he wants.
and we didn't make it. But we'll open his eyes.
Yeah,
it's fine.
One of the other cool things, and kind of the last note that I want to wrap this up on, because it was like a under 20-minute episode, so I don't want to spend 20 minutes talking about it.
Yeah, we could, but
we could, but we're not. We're going to try not to.
Or we could spend 40 minutes talking about it.
I'm telling you, we've done that too.
Done that.
There was an interesting proposition about, if you have 6 light lagers set in front of you from different breweries, mostly macro, some micro, whatever. Could you actually identify, like if you say, oh, this light lager is my favorite, it's the best, everything else is crap. If you had multiple of that same style, could you actually identify what you say is your favorite and the best of the best? And if you can identify it, does that turn that into something different from just that, I'm using air quotes, macro style or whatever?
Yeah, everyone watching the live stream saw that. What I would say is that, because that was great content right there.
Really
the ums.
It really was.
The ums. What I would say is that most of the time people can't. And when you put something so similar to each other next to each other, you may be able to taste a subtle difference between this or that. It's going to be very difficult for you to say, that's my go-to, that's my tried and true, that's my ride or die. Mm-hmm. And it's been proven over and over and over again when people try these things. You just can't. And a lot of times you end up finding one that you pick that you think is your favorite, and you know that it's this one and it's a different one.
Right.
And so you can go ahead and like a different one is the point, right?
Right.
I'm not going to go as far as say as they're interchangeable, but what I will say is that the nuances are so subtle that unless you know the brand is a brand, mm-hmm. then it doesn't pay to be loyal to one brand or another in, let's say, a bar setting.
But I guess one of the kind of what I was trying to lead into, and I don't want to explain the entire conversation because it's a short episode. You have time to listen to this, and it's a great episode. It's a great conversation.
Yeah, get into it.
I just thought it was really interesting where if you say, you have 6, and again, I'll keep it the light lager example. If one of those 6, you really recognize, oh, this is different. This tastes different. Is it still just a, again, air quotes, light lager? Or is something about how it was made, does it kind of bleed into one of those other fringe lager styles? I don't know how I want to word that. But if you notice a difference, if 5 of those 6 taste exactly the same, but one, there's something different, could it potentially be, again, I hate saying like a fringe, a variant, whatever, of that style to maybe what you like or what you're picking out isn't as straightforward and crisp and clean as what you thought. I don't know. It was interesting. I think, I'm not explaining it well at all.
No, I think overall the experiment is to be able to open your eyes and say, hey, all this stuff's pretty damn tasty from a similar platform, so to speak. And so my allegiance or because a lot of times they're like, I'm just this guy. I don't like this. I just like this and not that as a person. That's kind of silly.
I agree. I wasn't saying that it was right, wrong either way. No. Yeah.
But my point is larger than that. When you go out in a bar setting, if that's what you're into versus craft, then just buy whatever's on sale.
Sure.
And unless you have a reason to be loyal to a brand from a dollar standpoint, just buy what's on sale.
Yeah.
I mean,
Agreed.
That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, that's all that I had for Drinking with the Gnome, or as I said before we started recording, Dancing with the Gnome.
Yeah, you did. You did say Dancing with the Gnome.
I said it, and
that goes a few podcasts back, by the way.
Does.
You did Dancing. We did Dancing with the Gnome.
That's going to be one of the newest parts of Gnome Creative. He's going to be, I'm not sure if he's going to be dancing or if he's going to have a project that is about.
Last time I knew he was dancing, he was at the Blue Oyster Bar on Howell.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, just letting you know.
All right, cool. Well, let's move on to another one of Gnome's podcasts, the Cincinnati Brewcast.
All right.
Cheers. All right, we are back, and you have a fresh beer. I, in typical Julia fashion, am still finishing my Untitled Art Cold IPA. What are you drinking, Marco?
I have the tried and true Guinness Dry Irish Stout.
Wonderful. That is fantastic. All right, let's get into season or volume 8, depending on how you want to call it. Episode 24 of Cincy Brewcast with Michael from Adena.
I want to call it the longest episode of Cincy Brewcast ever.
And I did not look back to see if it was, in fact, the longest ever, but it was up there. Although, I will say the conversation was so good that I didn't notice.
Oh, it was good conversation.
It didn't feel like a long episode.
It was good conversation. No. It was just 2 hours. But it was good conversation.
It was great conversation for 2 hours.
You'll
never get those 2 hours back, but you enjoyed
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was the week, by the way, for, I guess, everybody to put out extra long content, Truth Beer Pod included.
It's true.
I mean, we put out, 3 hours worth of content this week?
It was not our longest episode.
Ooh.
Our longest, I had this on a Post-it and I left it at home. Our longest episode was, I think, like an hour and 55 minutes.
Was it the one with Matt Damaris and Mark Miller?
It was the one where we talked about sneakers a lot, so probably.
Yeah.
Probably. That would track. So this episode, we found out from Michael that distributors are beyond ruthless. Mm-hmm. They will take out your kneecaps if you even glance their way, and even say something as innocuous as, oh, hey, that's cool that I saw you signed X account. You try and take my account, boom, they pop you in the kneecaps. They throw Legos in front of you and take your shoes and make you walk all over them.
Hit you with a spoon.
Hit you with a spoon over and over and over.
They just follow you.
Marco is never going to forgive me. Just because I linked it doesn't mean you had to watch it. Okay?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Of course I did.
No, you didn't.
Of course I did.
No, you didn't. Did you watch all the So Bad It's Good videos that I linked you to as well? See?
No.
You don't have to do it. It's fine.
No.
I am...
Oh, Lee... What
Hey, where did he come from?
Liam came up. Welcome, Liam.
Welcome. Just have a seat over there by Marco.
Yeah, just
right
sit
over. Yeah,
right here. Hold on.
We got the... Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just
So
hang out.
Liam's
Just
hanging out.
chime in if you want to.
He's mean mugging and shit. He's like
doesn't
pissed.
he always? Oh, jeez.
There we
All
go.
of a sudden, we're gonna have problems with the umbrellas outside again.
Everyone around here is an engineer of some sort, and they can't figure out
the
fucking
umbrellas. Yeah. Let's see. They talked about how you kind of have to be a special brewery to put a location or a tap room in a completely different city. So I'll use like Fretboard for the example for this one. Fretboard opened a second location in Hamilton, which is still within the same-ish scope. You still have a lot of the same clientele. They're talking about if, say, Fretboard picked up and tried to open a location or did open a location in Chicago, in Denver, somewhere that has a completely different culture to it. And we've talked about this before on other episodes. There has to be a way.
Darkness. We talked about that.
With darkness. There has to be a way for people in that new area to fall in love with what you're doing, regardless of how closely it mirrors your original location. Bramari was the example that they used, and I thought that was really, really cool because Bramari came into the market pretty strong, and they're still doing pretty well.
Yeah.
A lot of new accounts that Adena's brought in, they come in kind of hot and fast. They're the new thing. They're the new kid in town. Everyone wants to buy it, and then Cincinnati has so much other good stuff that they might not stick around. And Marco is running over to the cooler. What is he pulling out there? Oh, that is an excellent, excellent example. This is a perfect example.
All right, so the example used in the podcast is toppling Goliath.
Yes.
All right.
Well, they talked about Bramari as well, but yes.
Yes, they talked about Bramari as well. I am not going to give a date. Now, they talked about fresh, not fresh, from Toppling Goliath.
Yes.
I have a can of Toppling Goliath. I am going to tell you that it is within the freshness date.
All right.
I'm not going to give you the date, but I'm going to tell you that here at Higher Gravity, they do care about that. And so you are going to be able to get, for the most part, a curated experience that is in code. So
absolutely.
I'm going to run and put this back. But yes, as an example from the podcast, as I was looking over your shoulder, I'm like, gotta grab it.
That's absolutely, because
but I had
fits in with
faith
the
in
conversation.
I had faith in Hard Gravity.
Oh God, yeah. They are very good about making sure that what they sell here is as fresh as it can be. It's always in code. If it's not in code, they pull it. Sometimes, depending on what it is, it might make it to their last chance sales, but it's always going to be something that they still have faith is going to drink the way it's supposed to drink. One of the other things that they kind of talked about, Noam actually talked a bit about his football skills in this episode, and apparently he is coming.
Yeah, he's warming up. He's got his arm.
He's coming for Burrow's job.
Probably in better shape than mine. I don't know if he's not coming for Burrow's job, but
he's in better shape than you are right now with your arm.
I will
shape. Say that.
I think
yes,
the arm
yes,
shape,
yes,
for sure.
So
trail shape maybe as well. I mean, since I fell off a trail or got pushed, it depends.
It depends on how you're looking at it.
But he did talk about his football prowess in this episode.
It's true, and I think that because last year's Beer Booze Bonks Fest, which is coming up November 19th, buy your tickets. It is one of the best local beer festival events that's out there. That's not just like a single brewery or a single, a single brand's thing. It's amazing. But I did not get to see his football throwing skills last year.
No.
Maybe this year he will be gracious enough to show us what kind of startle you.
I mean, no. Liam just wanted. He's like, I said no, and he pushed me out of the way. He's like, that's my line.
That's it. Well,
like,
it is. It
if he's going to sit here and mean mug and shit, I guess we get him, let him have that. But no, you're right. I mean, so the gnome has been practicing his football prowess. He's been trying to work on his accuracy. And so he talks about that in this podcast. Last Beer, Booze, and Bonks, Boinks, Binks, Boobies, and
Bobcats
Bikinis.
and Biscuits.
Yeah. Banana hammocks. All that was... it was new, so he had to do his thing, and I understand
he had to kind of
that.
be on the entire time.
Yeah, and
hopefully this year he gets to he enjoyed it last year, but there was still a lot that he had to try to stay focused on. I think that this year it's going to be a much more relaxed experience for him. But kind of getting back onto the actual good.
No, but to get back to the actual episode, they actually talked about Beer Fest.
They did.
What are you looking for? What's different? What's changed? What makes a Beer Fest stand out?
Absolutely. Because if you enjoy a specific kind of beer, and I say kind of beers in like craft beer, a beer festival that has all kinds of stuff from national, local, what have you, and you're just there to drink a whole bunch of samples of a whole bunch of stuff that you might not buy a can or a case or a 16 ounce or whatever of, they're great. But certain beer festivals feel more special than others. They feel like they're actually curated, like the people putting them on care about the beer and not just how many tickets can we sell to move this beer, so to speak. And Beer Booze Bonks is one of those few festivals where that every single beer was handpicked, and not just, hey, does your brewery want to come? Okay, bring a couple kegs of whatever you want to bring. And it's their mass-produced product.
I think that there's a lot of evolution over the past, say, 7, 8, 9, 10 years in this sort of space, where these bigger like convention center events were providing people the opportunity to have beers that they couldn't get. Now you can get.
It's true.
You can get them, and you can get them, and they're in the market, and even more so now.
Right, but some events focus. I mean, Rheingeist Rare Beer Fest is another good example.
Sure, there
are still some beer festivals and beer events that they try to focus on. We're going to have your favorites. We're going to have the things, the crowd pleasers, but we also want to provide you with an opportunity to have something that you can't get locally, or that it's a local brewery, but they're only going to make a small batch specifically for this.
I think the difference is it's almost like a by volume event, right? So
true,
the bigger ones are more by volume. You're going to go and you're going to have more by volume, and the smaller ones you're going to have more specialty, rare, different.
Right.
Or maybe new and not on the market yet.
True.
Sort of scenario. And I think that's where some of the change is. And where Michael was talking about what he wants is he wants new beer, and he wants to be able to network.
Sure.
Really is what he was talking about.
Absolutely.
He wants to be able to network. He wants to be able to see the people that are in the business that he knows. And what happens is that as breweries tend to get a little bit bigger, it used to be that the brewer would go. It used to be that maybe one of the other brewers would go to these events. It used to be then, now we have a social media and marketing person, and they would go to the event. And then it became, well, we're so big in the social media and marketing, and the brew team is so into what they're doing. Maybe they show up as a guest, but they're running around talking to everybody else. So
they're doing that networking, right?
So now what you're having is maybe a person or two that's on a team that all they do is events,
right?
And so now that becomes the person that you become, or that becomes the POC for that sort of business, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine too, because they have connections, hopefully, to those connections. But I think as breweries tend to get a little bit bigger, sometimes that gets a little bit more away from the way it was in earlier years for that particular brewery, where you would show up, and as the brewer, you were talking to Michael,
right?
But now it's somebody that may not even know the brewer.
Right. But as long as they know the beer and they know the brewery, I feel like that's kind of the important part, more so than talking to the actual brewer, one of the actual brewery owners, that type of thing.
Right.
One of the things in this episode, Michael kept apologizing about some of the background noise. Hey, just like we really drink on this show, Michael really works in a warehouse.
Yeah.
There's
a
gonna be
real
background
warehouse
noise
work happening there.
if they're recording there, and so no, don't need to apologize. Don't apologize for it. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's great. It shows the realness of what you're doing, and that was the dumbest thing I think that I've ever said.
Oh, can't be.
No.
not can't be. There's no way.
No, I'll go back into some of the older episodes and find some of the other god awful things.
What
that I've
what
said.
else do you have on Cincy Brewcast?
The Nut Guys.
Ah,
Holy
yes, the Nut Guys.
shit! Use code GNOME at manscaped.com. My God,
That was hilarious.
it is still so hilariously awkward for me. Like, I am laughing, but at the same time, I'm holding my head, going, I don't need to know.
The Nut Guys.
I don't need to
That's
know
great.
about any of this stuff.
That's hilarious.
The products are great. I do agree.
Oh yeah, you've used them?
I've used some of them, not all of them.
Oh,
I've used
okay.
some of them. Josh is happy. My Josh is happy
You
with the
don't need to-
products. Hey, you know what?
Never know what? I'm sorry I asked.
If Gnome's going to make this awkward, so am I.
Okay, very good.
My Josh is happy with the products.
Okay.
I'm happy with the results of the products.
Okay, very good.
And I really want to try their new body wash and scrubber thing, because that sounds like it would be
Yeah, he was all
wonderful.
in
He was
on that
all in on the scrubber.
thing.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I wasn't sold before, now I'm on their email marketing list because
course
I
you are.
bought stuff. Well,
I-
I say marketing. I'm on their email list because
I
I
can't-
bought products using Gnome's code, Gnome. And so now they email me, and of course I put Josh's name. So the emails that are coming to my email address are, "Hi Josh, how are your balls today?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is great."
You could
This is
answer
so
that.
great. I could.
Yeah.
I could. Yeah.
No, but I have continued social media videos of commercials of theirs that come up all the time.
Nice. Eventually, you need to buy something.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
By the way, the reviews are hilarious. If you
Yes,
ever
they
click
are.
on the reviews,
Yes,
they are hilarious.
They are 100%. Just go to the site, go to manscaped.com just to read the reviews. And while you're there, use code GNOME and help support the GNOME.
Correct.
And, I mean,
And I think
keep him making these incredibly awkward little breaks in the show to talk about personal
That's
grooming
that's
care.
only like 40 minutes into the episode.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
2
it's
hours
pretty,
long.
It's pretty in there.
Do you have more notes? Do
I-
we have more notes after the 40-minute mark?
I have 2 more notes, and I have 1 multiple choice question. So maybe Liam can help us out with that.
Oh,
one, since
Liam.
he's
Yeah, hold on. Liam.
mean mugging
He's
over
looking
there.
pissed.
So the 2 other notes that I had, well, one thing they talked a bit about the new Cinbev, Cincinnati Beverage, and how they put a ton of money into revamping a lot of these old production breweries. Like the smokestacks are being repainted for like the Cliffside Brewery, stuff like
So
that.
I need some
That'll be cool
clarification.
to
Is
see.
Sin Beverage the same
The old
company
Moorline?
that ousted Greg Hartman, or is this the new Sugar Hill gang that owns?
I don't know. I want to say it's the one that ousted Greg, but it's so confusing.
well,
I
who's the
don't
Sugar Hill
know.
gang with?
I don't know.
Okay.
I get it. No, we need you. We need you to help us because we're confused and we want to be unconfused. So come
Yeah.
onto the pod, or we'll call you while you're making more waffles and spaghetti, and
Yeah.
you can clarify all
It's
of
got
this
a
for us.
new food truck coming soon. It's Papa Gnome's waffles and spaghetti.
Yes, which you can get actual spaghetti, but also spaghettis.
True.
Yes.
And then he puts it on top of waffles.
one thing
with
because-
Cincinnati chili.
No. Blech. No, thank you. Okay, let's wrap this one up. I don't want to really dig into this because this is a whole other rabbit hole conversation, but they had a really good part of their discussion of this episode about, is beer headed in a good direction? Again, that's
yeah.
a huge
I mean,
topic, huge topic, and our time before Jason shows up is fast approaching, and we still have shift beers to cover. So I don't want to dive into that too much because, again, I want to make sure we have enough time to do shift beers to give them a just a recap.
All right.
The Crowbar versus Jungle Gyms for best selection and price per pint. That was interesting.
It was interesting, and what I would say is probably the two are different from each other.
Sure.
And the
But-
other thing is he was also talking about the bar itself. So the ambiance
Yes.
of the bar itself.
Correct,
You I don't think are drinking at the you're not drinking at the Jungle Jim's bar. You're just being served at the Jungle Jim's bar.
Right.
You have to.
Where every time that I go to one of the Kroger locations near my house that has a crowbar, people are just sitting there BSing with the bartender or the barista bartender, whatever.
I'm pissed that the crowbar at Harper's got taken out.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. I used to go to the crowbar, and the other thing that was bullshit is they never staffed it. Like when it opened, there was always somebody there, and then when they weren't staffing it, you used to have to go get a manager. And like, I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm just not gonna do it. No, if I sit down in the bar and somebody's
I'm
not
giving you my
there
money. If someone's not there, I'm not giving you my money.
Yeah, F it.
All right. Wrapping up the recap of the Cincinnati Brewcast. Cheers.
All right, cheers. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Julia's going to need
I finished the beer
before we get into shift beers.
It's awesome.
We got like 10 minutes.
I'm telling you, we got this. Multiple choice. Does Liam, since he's sitting right next to you.
How about it?
I want to tell you that I really hate this. I don't know why you asked me.
Well, you don't have to show up.
I'm not doing anything else.
Okay, hold on a second.
Marco, you intro. Fuck Liam. Get out of here. Leave.
Hey, Liam.
Marco, you intro me.
No.
Oh, wait, you never intro me.
Hello, this is Liam Neeson, and I have a very particular set of skills that I am not going to use on Marco today.
Fair enough.
My skills have now grown to introducing Julia's multiple choice question.
All right, here we go, real fast. What did an Irish brewery have to import for their beer? Is it A, cabbage, B, Lucky Charms, or C, Irish coffee?
Or D. You know, I am here to bring the D. I am here to bring the D. Is it leprechauns? So there was a very, this may or may not be the truth. Mm-hmm. However, they had a labor sort of scenario where it was cheaper to import leprechauns from other countries to do the work of leprechauns. But now with the recent inflation and everything like that.
Well, and unionization played a lot.
And unionization and the push back to more local. They're paying local leprechauns more, and they're shunning the import leprechauns.
Right.
So is it leprechauns?
The immigrant leprechauns.
The immigrant leprechauns.
Right. Yeah. It was a great episode. Like we said, when you look at the timestamp of it, you're going, holy shit, this is like 2 hours long. It does not feel like it. It was a great conversation from start to finish. And I can't say enough good things about it, so I'm just going to stop. And
that's your truth. Let's go.
I'm going to grab another beer, and then we're going to talk about shift beers.
Hopefully before Jason gets here.
We've got this.
All right.
Holy shit, I have
my
a
mic
new beer.
around a little bit.
Hey, you do.
You have a new beer.
It's better than the noises that Jim was making with his mic. So
those are weird. Those were fun.
Weird, yeah. I wonder, do the glasses do that, or was it just?
Ooh,
it's not just the cans. Look at us. Look at us.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
What are you drinking, Marco?
I just have a Narragansett lager.
Don't say just a Narragansett lager. That's a damn good beer.
It is a damn good beer.
There you go. I got one whose name. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
I got one whose name I felt like fit into the last podcast that we have to recap tonight. It's not as bad of a name of a beer as Creamy Kitty is.
Terrible.
But it is goddamn close.
Yeah. It is.
It's good. I say it's a good beer. I'm enjoying this. I would not want to buy a 4-pack. I don't think I would want to get their whole 4-pack of it. But do you want to say what this one's called, or?
Yeah, it's called Hurtin' for a Squirtin' Imperial New England IPA from 6 Cents.
Yeah.
Brewery.
I'm gonna giggle like a 12-year-old every time we say that name.
Yeah.
But I felt that it was a perfect beer to complement
ridiculous.
Shift Beers, which is also ridiculous.
Yeah.
This was episode 104 of Shift Beers.
Okay.
Silver City Beers with Lyndsi, and that is the most interesting spelling of Lyndsi that I have ever seen. So shout out to her for, I guess her parents for the originality.
Yeah, shout out Lyndsi's parents.
Check that out. Corey is there, and he's all hair. There was a bit of a conversation about that, so you get some Corey action. I think all the guys at Chip Beers got some core reaction as well. Hopefully Beth was able to.
Yeah,
get some
according to
as well.
everything that we heard, I mean, they all got some core reaction, so that's good.
They had a shit ton of drunk line calls, which you told me, you gave me a little teaser. It may not be the most, or Shift Beers calls, the drunk line calls.
Drunk line.
They had a shit ton of drunk line calls, which I do have that number written down this week. It is 804-445-2337, which translates to 804
High Five
Beer. And
Yeah.
I got it right that time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so Marco may have made more than one call the other
Several.
night.
I mean, many.
Several, yeah.
I mean, many. I couldn't go to sleep. So, and everybody else was asleep, and I was just sitting there.
And you're like, I'm bored,
I wasn't
I'm gonna
even
call
drinking,
them.
and I was like,
But don't tell them that. I mean, then now they're going to just
Oh.
not play your
I
calls.
stopped drinking. Let me put it
There
that
we
way.
go. There we go. They played the call that we made from the Gnarly Gnome Tavern, which I forgot that we did.
I forgot we did that, but yeah, we did.
yeah, we
it
did
was
that. I'm
from
like-
the Gnarly Known Tavern.
Yeah, and they're just like, Gnome's not there. What are they talking about? And then you hear Gnome chime in from the background. They're like, oh my God, that Gnome's there.
And apparently they were invited and didn't show up.
Yeah, well, at least Brian.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, yeah, I was well aware of this stuff, and yeah, I just didn't go.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Probably because he had GI issues.
Quite possible.
GI issues.
So
which came up in the podcast, by the way.
In one of the drunk calls, you get to find out about toilet issues in Kansas, which is something I never really thought we'd hear about on Shift Beers, but it also doesn't surprise me that turned into a major point of conversation for one of their episodes.
Right.
Let's see. I can't read my own handwriting here. Oh, you can find out what kind of card Josh saw get pulled out of the water.
Yes.
He dug into that. He did a whole
And-
Instagram story, like documenting the entire
And
thing.
you can document how many pictures he had while that was happening.
Yes, that are more expensive now. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Inflation's hitting everyone to
RIP to
$1
less
pitchers.
expensive pitchers.
Yeah, now they're what, $1.05 or something? And
I don't
he's
know.
pissed about
He's
that.
a member of
telling
a,
I'm telling you.
group that has.
Jesus, 30 fucking minutes, and they still weren't done with your drinking. 30 minutes.
I know,
Guys.
I know, but I mean,
Guys.
we're here for it.
No, it is. As much shit as we get them for them, I love the drinking segments so much because it is that conversation that we talk about so often.
it gets into their lives. It talks about what they were
yes.
doing, where they were at, what happens.
Yeah.
But yes, if you're going to have a show theme, maybe make the theme a little bit bigger
broader.
than the
Although I
lead-in.
will say, I do want to talk a little bit, and actually, I could grab that. One of the beers that Beth mentioned, one of the beverages.
Beth.
I'm going to grab this. Beth talked about something that she drank, Ecto, and I was curious because I bought. You brought me the cherry limeade.
Yeah.
I bought a pack of Ecto, and when I looked at the label, I wondered how pissed Beth was about this label because of something she mentioned several episodes ago. So I'm going to check out a can real fast. So you get to just talk into the mic while I am walking away.
Okay, so Beth was talking about labels and Ecto, and so I don't remember any of that. It's on my notes. It's on Julia's notes, and we'll see what she's talking about. But what they were doing was basically reliving into drinking some of the intersections that all of them had, where some of them were, drinking, together. You good? You okay?
No, I
You
am
need to
not
step
okay.
stool
I
and
don't
get in
know. I
that
don't know what's
chair?
happening. A chair attacked me. That's all I'm saying. Much like
Well, Lee's dog's not here.
yes,
So.
yes, I was just about to say, but my ass didn't end up on the floor this time. So the 6-pack of Ecto that I got, the back of the label that lists Ecto and kind of gives a little description about it, so pixelated and blurry, I could not read it.
Oh, seriously?
And she had that same complaint about another, not a local, but another brewery's beer that they had. I forget if it was a bonus beer or something like that. But all the cans here at Higher Gravity, labels are crystal clear. So I must have just
Sweet.
gotten
Also,
a badly printed 6-pack.
also makes
which is
me
fine.
harken back to Craft Parenting Pod
Mm-hmm.
when they were doing the cryptid pack.
Yeah.
And they refer to all of them as beers.
They did.
The whole time they're just like, and this beer, and this beer, and this beer, and none of them were beers.
No, they're not beers. They're not even Midwest fruit tarts. They are full-on seltzers. So do better.
Anyways.
Crap Harry Pod.
Do better,
anyway.
do better.
But yeah, so Beth did say that she got some Ecto while she was out, part of her drinking segment. And that reminded me of, all the labels on the cans I had did not look the crispest, the cleanest like you typically see from Astra. But the ones here at Higher Gravity look great. Must have just been weird.
Strange.
Weird production issue. All good. It was fine. The Ecto's great. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's see, what else from this episode? And I kind of apologize that we're running through this, but we've spent tons of time on shift beers in the past. They can deal with us kind of rushing through their episode.
We're ripping through it. Let's go.
Is cobbler better than pie? And are all cobblers pies, but not all pies cobblers?
No.
Boy, they were getting mad about this one.
Yeah.
They had some opinions.
So I feel that if you want to lump a cobbler into a pie conversation, I don't mind it. Mm-hmm. However, what I will say is they're not the same.
I would agree with that.
Don't be messing around with that. Pie is clearly one with a crust underneath.
Correct.
Cobbler does not need a crust underneath. So not the same thing. You can lump them into a dessert experience, mm-hmm. and have at it. But no, a cobbler is not a pie.
Okay, that's fair.
Not a cobbler.
I'm going to eat it either
way,
way, so I don't care what you call it. Just give me some.
All right, favorite pie, Julia, go.
Lemon meringue.
Nice. Favorite cobbler?
Like a peach cobbler.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which, they brought up French silk pie. Not really a pie, even though it is almost completely encased in whipped cream. Has nothing to do with beer, but
Yeah,
we're going for it.
Do you have a top five or no?
No,
okay.
absolutely not.
Maybe episode before Thanksgiving.
That would be fun.
Okay.
That would be fun. Let's do it.
I don't have any because I can't eat.
You can't eat
that,
like 99% of it. Yeah.
BS.
Also, not beer. Gas station heaters episode they were talking about.
Yes, gas station heaters
All
episode.
I'm going to ask is who's bringing the Jarrum Blacks, and if you know, you know. Hopefully, find that funny.
I just hope that they go to different gas stations where they can just buy one heater.
That would be hilarious. Can I just get one? No, not one pack.
No. I just want one.
So basically, they have to talk to the people standing outside of the gas station.
Right.
And see if they can get a heater. That would be amazing.
Like the guy a bunch of episodes ago when I pulled up.
Yeah.
I pulled up and I was like, man, this guy's gonna
end well.
Yeah, he's gonna ask me for money.
So what they need to do.
And I walked in and I walked out and he's like, hey, and I was like, yeah, and he goes, you just get that washed, and I was like, yep, and then that was it. That's all he asked
awesome.
me. That's all he asked me.
So this is what they need to do for the gas station heater episode. They need to go to a gas station and buy a gas station single, and as they're leaving, ask
for
the guy sitting up for a single heater in exchange for said gas station single, and who can actually make that transition happen.
Whatever, $1,
whatever,
or
sure,
$2,
yeah.
whatever a single heater. A single heater.
Oh my God, dude, that would be awful and hilarious all at the same time. So I don't know if I want to encourage that. I don't think I want to encourage it, but just the whole concept of it is ridiculous.
It's hilarious. They don't have to smoke them.
No, God, no. Just could they obtain a single heater?
Yeah.
Good God. Last night that I had is shift drugs.
Yeah, drugs.
Yep, that's it. This episode was...
Yay, drugs.
We didn't talk a lot about when they called Lyndsi and she was still working. She wasn't, she was like hiding in the cooler at the brewery that she doesn't work at.
She did a great job.
So I definitely want to touch on that before we get to the burp count, because she was freaking amazing.
Great guest.
She is
totally awesome.
She still does not beat Jeff as far as top guest for me, but she is damn close.
Oh, great guest.
She was so much fun, so much energy, and just the fact that she randomly stumbled.
She's at the top of my list.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
Because Jeff, great guest, didn't send beers.
This is true.
She sent giant box of beers.
This is very true.
Was available during her shift to talk to shift beers.
Very true.
Loved shift beers.
Well, the story of how she found shift beers.
Correct.
it's fantastic. It's one of those, this is what makes the craft beer community so great. Not just locally, but nationally.
Yeah.
Internationally, if you want to, throw the Canadians back into it, which
For sure.
I think they're all dead now because no
All the
one's heard
Canadians.
anything from them in a long time. And I hope that they're doing okay. I miss those guys. Hopefully they're not still, locked in the drunk tank up in
Scotia.
Hopefully
Hopefully everything's good
Yeah.
up in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. They're about to get into the shit.
It's true.
Yeah,
I had my last can of the was it Saskatchewan Berry Sour from Untitled Art. I had bought it a long time ago. It's just been in the back of the fridge because I can't
I was
do
going to say
sour
the last
super
can of
frequently.
the stuff I bought you because I'm sure that was rough.
No. This was what I got. It was the berry that's named after that area. I think it was in Saskatchewan. I don't know. But podcasts from up north.
Marionberry?
No, it was
The
with an
cokehead?
S. I don't know. It's fine. But I was drinking that, and I'm like, man, I hope those guys are doing well. I hope everything's good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The
burp count. Let's wrap this episode up.
Let's get into it. Burp count.
They get a bonus burp from our friend and friend of the podcast, Greg, who sent us some information about a beer event happening at Brewcast.
Yes, because he
ended the email with a burp.
Email with a burp.
So Greg, first and foremost, thank you for listening. We really appreciate you. This is the second event that you have sent us for us to promote, mostly through social media sharing because, we see it late. We're not as good at checking some of these things as we need to be. But your email burp was added to the Shift Beers total.
Hell yeah.
As our way of thanking you for doing this.
Let's go.
In episode 104 of Shift Beers, they had a total, and they were bringing it, but they did not get the golden number. They had 68 burps, and that is with Greg's counted. 68 total, which is 136 ounces, which is 8.5 pints.
Hell yeah.
Of whatever beverage you decide to go with. So you're having a damn good time in this episode.
That was what, a 58-minute podcast?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, so
that's
you getting there.
I'm wondering if Greg was the drunk line call that they weren't sure who it was.
Ooh, could be.
It would make sense.
Could be.
It would make a lot of sense.
Could be.
So
way to go, Shift Beers.
I mean, come on, man. Know your fans. Know your audience. What's going on here? But Greg, thank you so much. We appreciate you and your burp that we got to add to Shift Beers. Shift Beers, we love you guys. We give you shit because we care. And
for sure.
Marco, what other notes do you have? Oh, I have one other, and it's an asterisk note at the top of my page. Last week we talked about Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
That was on an episode of Shift Beers. It's from Mad Tree.
I knew it after the episode. I knew it was from Mad Tree.
I know. I'm like, shoot. I know that I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking,
good job,
bottle.
Julia.
I do what I can.
Yeah.
I tried.
Well, you do a great job. Thank you, Julia.
Yeah.
And thank you, everyone. This is it. This is what we do. This is Truth, Beer, and Consequences. And so, Julia, let everyone know all the important deets.
All right. If you like what we do, or even if you just tolerate what we do, we would really appreciate if you could like, review, 5 stars, subscribe, share, tell your friends, your family, your dogs, your hairdressers, your real estate agents, your car mechanic. Tell everyone that you talk to about our podcast. We would really appreciate it. It definitely helps us grow. If you would like, follow us on social media. We are at Truth Beer Pod everywhere, which is soon going to include YouTube. They are releasing handles, so we will be at Truth Beer Pod on YouTube as well. I think the whole website is youtube.com/@truthbeerpod. I don't know, but all of our episodes are posted onto YouTube, so check us out there as well. If you would like to monetarily donate to the show so that we can do really cool things to help try to be better for you guys, truthbeerpod.com. There is a nice big blue buy us a pint link. And if you have any complaints about our show, please send those to @RagingHop on the Twitter sphere. But other than that, Marco, what are you going to be doing next Tuesday?
So, Julia, I am going to be getting together here with you at our gracious podcast host to talk about all the Cincinnati craft beer podcasts that we listened to the previous week. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. See you next week.